In this week's episode of It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room, I'm going to bring you a new segment, and since I've already introduced you to one of my furry friends, I'm going to double down. So, stick around. Hi, and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. This week, I'm going to bring you a brand new segment, and here it is. Yo, Joe! That's right. Instead of Fistful of Joes, the figures, I bring you Fistful of Joes, the comics. And to kick things off, I'm not going to do it random. I'm going to show you three that I think are pretty special. And they are this is Action Force Monthly and G.I. Joe the European Missions 2 and 3. Now, let's just jump right in. And one day, hopefully, I'll be able to do a more in-depth look at the comics, which I would love to do, and read like the memorable panels and stuff. But for right now, we have to do it this way, until I can figure out the perfect way to bring you the action. But let's start off with the Action Force Monthly. On the front, free battle ribbons and mini poster. Hey, very exciting. Unfortunately, the art is a little questionable on the cover. Everyone looks a little gonzo, if you will. But takes place in London. Cobra's Crimson Guard hold this top ambassador hostage. Unfortunately, none of the names of the creative team are standing out to me. But if you're holding somebody hostage, what's the best thing to do? Send in Roadblock with one of the biggest guns imaginable. What could go wrong? Ooh. But they distract with Leatherneck popping through the window. And look at that. A Crimson Guard shot right in the chest by Sci-Fi. That's right. A laser shot right through the heart. This ain't your kid-friendly G.I. Joe. Oh, look at this. Look at what Roadblock's doing. Did he even ask if they were ready to surrender? Doesn't look like it. Got Tomax and Zaymot. Some bats in the back of a van here. Whoa. Got Footloose here. And after the briefing, he's being held behind. Guy in a suit says, "You're taking your holiday as planned, I assume?" "Correct, sir," Footloose answers. "Off the record, Footloose. Is this a dangerous gamble?" "I knew the risks when I volunteered, sir." "A bluff can be hazardous, Footloose. A double bluff can be deadly." Which is the title of this story, Double Bluff. So, let's flip through here and see what exactly a double bluff is. Uh-oh. Footloose, while getting ready to go on vacation, gets jumped by Tomax and Zaymot and the bats. And they make him put in his code to get into the G.I. Joe headquarters. Whoa! What the double bluff is, he was just luring them in as he takes a punch at them. But the other one doesn't feel it. Taking out bats. Oh, look at this awesome airstriker ad. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's awesome. Or Sky Striker, I should say. Duh. And here's the poster. Yeah, just a cover. Nothing too crazy exciting. Ooh, here's Marvel Dragon's Teeth ad. That's pretty cool. Everybody's gone. But Tomax and Zaymont, having to ride the subway home, are planning on kidnapping the director's family. And as they're walking off, of course it's London, they have to ride the train. But this homeless looking gentleman, "Hey, you going to a fancy dress party or something?" "What if we were?" "Oh, no reason." "No reason at all." As he is really Zartan. Now we have another Action Force comic, Double Cross, starring everybody's favorite sailor, Shipwreck. The ship gets attacked by Cobra. Shipwreck gets shot and left for dead, but he surfaces in an old sunken bomber plane, it looks like here. As he uncovers a skeleton from the original Nazi occupiers. I'm sorry, is that yes, it is a bomber. And it was full of gold. So, wah, wah, poor Shipwreck. Always the lovable loser. And then we have a backup story from Transformers, Ancient Relics. Too many humans, too many humans. Oh, okay. Now we have Megatron all messed up. I believe it was after his fall fighting Optimus. Then we got Grimlock in here. And an awesome looking robot that they've never shown before. Apparently it's an ancient relic. And his name was Centurion. Here's a front shot of him. There's a side shot of him. And look, he towers over Wheeljack there. But Grimlock's of course a little bit taller. But one of the cool things about comics like this, they don't waste anything. The last page of the comic is the back of the book. Who's this dude? Oh, the helicopters. I wonder if it's one of the ones that made Defensor. Maybe. Anyway, that was Action Force Monthly #1. Now, we're going to take a look at G.I. Joe, the European missions. And as a kid, when you'd open up the old comics, there'd be ads for like Mile High Comics or Geppies, you know, the huge comic stores. Or Geppies. Geppies was actually local, but I've only been there once in my entire life. But they would, since G.I. Joe was a very popular title, they would have its own little block there with the comics they have for sale with prices, which, you know, it'd be like so and so #1 for $3.50, and back then you're like, man, that's a lot of money. But now, you know, a brand new comic on the rack is more than that. Anyway, I remember seeing European missions being advertised for sale, like they're this big rare thing. And it took me many years to actually track down some, but the art on the cover is fantastic. Look at that, hawk and snake eyes with a rattler. You got Flint up there with the Marvel logo. And this issue is entitled Death or Glory. And right off the bat, you see Buzzer terrorizing some people. And if you remember from his file card, Buzzer was actually a professor or something that was studying biker gangs, and he got maybe brainwashed or just loved what he was doing when he was studying the Dreadnoughts, and he just stayed with them. So a lot of this is written as a letter, as you can see by how the word balloons are. It looks like they're handwritten letters, and he's very well spoken, so that actually shows you his college upbringing. Weird pose to be saying, "I'm bringing company, yeah!" That belt buckle, dang. Double as a cod piece. Here's the rest of the Dreadnoughts. Well, Monkey Wrench, Buzzer, and why can't I think of his name? Oy vey. It's been a long day, folks, so sorry. Anyway, here they are. What year was this? 1988. That's weird. Sorry to jump out like that, but instead of this G.I. Joe being a copyright of Hasbro, they're a copyright of Milton Bradley in the UK. How interesting. Some type of licensing thing, I'm sure. But for 1988, this art style reminds me very much of the 90s with Marvel. Like kind of a rushed, very dark outline type of style. Ooh. Yeah, grisly, bullet-riddled death there. Not your cartoon, kids. Ooh, and the cover as a poster. Now that's a poster I'd actually hang, unlike the monthly #1 there. And here we go. Here's Snake Eyes doing what he does best. And what he does best ain't pretty. Oh, I'm sorry, that's another character. These stories weren't as involved as the Larry Hama ones, but they seem to have some neat undertones. Look at that. Another kill shot there. Who is that? Flint? Yeah, Flint ain't messing around. Shoot a Rattler out of the sky with a rifle. But then we go to Ancient Relics, Part 2. which was a continuation from Action Force Monthly #1. But look at this. Here's G.I. Joe in the Transformer comic. And of course, G.I. Joe just don't understand. What's the first thing they do? Just because they're good Americans? They attack what they fear. So here's this Transformer like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm an Autobot. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, bazooka. Attacking. What a jerk. This guy's a medical helicopter. Why would you do that? But then, as an upright dude, forgive me, humans. It seems my commander's instability has infected me, even me. I bear you no malice. We Autobots are sworn to protect human life. Who's that? Since it's drawn very, airtight, says, oh yeah? What about the others you attacked? Or don't they count, says Flint. No, wait, I couldn't see clearly before, but this isn't one of the creatures that attacked us. And then all of a sudden, said creature... Excuse me, mouse issues. Said creature does attack, and it's Megatron! But then the back page is different this time. It's a preview of Dragon's Claws. Which looks pretty cool. It's a comic I never had read before, but it looks neat. Looks like futuristic fantasy. So that always gets my vote. But let's finish up things with European Missions #3, which has one of the coolest covers ever. Excuse me as I put this back in its protective bag. That has to be difficult for some reason because I'm on camera. Anyway, screw you, #2. Going to #3. Now, as I said, one of the coolest covers ever. Look at that. Tell me if you were a kid in the 80s, you would not drop everything to get this issue. Old scores. What a great way to start. Ooh, again. Storm Shadow ain't playing. Slice that fool. You got this, I'm assuming a villain, looking into the Ashikage hexagram, which I have right here. Hexagram 63. Why does it look so familiar? Then, as a segue, boom! Storm Shadows as he's coming out of the water. Oh, that's a neat action shot right there of him in silhouette. You want to school this dude. Whoa. Storm Shadow drops the body of that fool. He is fighting in on the villain. You're still trying to figure out what the hexagram means. And this dude, just to give a little back thing here, this bad guy is in a room surrounded by bells, so no one can sneak up on him. So, when Storm Shadow finally gets to him, the gentleman says, You came through the bells without a sound. That's impossible. Are you going to kill me now? No, not yet, Storm Shadow says calmly. I just wanted to show you that no matter how well you protect yourself, I'll be able to find you. Live in fear. No, you can't leave me like this. I can't live this way. I can't. And as Storm Shadow is leaving, a single shot rings out in the night as the man kills himself. But then we go into the next G.I. Joe story, which takes place in the snow. Ooh, look at all these snow serpents. That's neat. That's like one of those cool, like with the Force Awakens, where you kind of see the side of the stormtroopers. Ooh, Storm Shadow on the brain. The stormtroopers that we hadn't seen before. Then all of a sudden, holy crap, it's Snake Eyes! Nice splash. Like I said, this art is very reminiscent of the 90s. Very dark. Very bombastic. Ooh, a poster I would love to hang. But it ain't coming out of this book, that's for sure. Like in some parts, this art reminds me of like a Tim Truman, but other parts it reminds me, like I said, of kind of the extreme art style of Marvel in the 90s. Like the facial expressions are very well done, which remind me of an artist like Tim Truman. And look at this guy. Wonder if he ever got a figure in the UK. As he shouts out, Snake Eyes! No one tell you about the new weapons we also make here? Pity. Let me give you a demonstration. That dude looks pretty awesome. He almost looks like a Warhammer 40k-esque character. But he burns Snake Eyes. But look at what Snake Eyes is more concerned about. Saving Timber. That's right. So it's a cat and mouse game as Snake Eyes readies just some good old-fashioned booby traps here. And what Snake Eyes do? Simply just push him off a cliff onto the spikes that he made. That's pretty hardcore. And then we get to the Transformers Part 3, where the Joes face Megatron. Oh, and here's that Centurion dude with Grimlock. That's awesome looking. The next list of toys that they should have made, this dude, that Centurion guy, is awesome looking. Oh no! Wild Bill and a fleet of helicopters try to take out Megatron, but it doesn't work. Oh no! The cliffhanger is Wild Bill falling. I'm going down! And then we end with another ad for Dragon's Claws. Unfortunately, it's the exact same one as the previous month. I didn't see that in here. Up at the top, this says 12 Rattlers to be won. How can they be won? Oh, here it is in the front. 12 Rattlers must be won. With its 7-barreled anti-tank gun and fearsome armor-piercing weaponry, the Cobra Rattler is an airborne adversary to strike terror into the hearts of even the most fearless AFer. That means something a lot different nowadays. Now Hasbro are offering you the chance to win your very own Rattler in our fun, easy-to-enter competition. All you have to do is tell us the name of the Cobra pilot of this winged wonder. Answers on a postcard to Action Force Rattler competition. I wonder if this is still going on. Might have to try that, because I never did ever get a Rattler, and I still want one. Anyway, awesome cover, pretty cool stories from both Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Unfortunately, they didn't appear together as the cover showed, but that has been the first installment of Fistful of Joes Comics. Check out this commercial, and I'll see you when you get back.
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there.
It's here, the G.I. Joe collection. Infantry trooper. Codename Grunt. Bazooka soldier. Codename Zap. Mortar soldier. Codename Short Fuse. Laser rifle trooper. Codename Flash. Ranger. Codename Stalker. Communications officer. Codename Breaker. Machine gunner. Codename Rock and Roll. Counterintelligence. Codename Scarlet. Commando. Codename Snake Eyes. Each sold separately. G.I. Joe from Hasbro.
Hey, welcome back. Like I said at the intro, I already introduced you all to a furry friend of mine a couple weeks ago, so I don't need to hold anything back. Now I'm doubling down, and I'm going to introduce you to a few more of my friends. But what segment would it fit best into? Star Wars, you say? I think you know who I'm talking about. One of my main homies in life. Wicket. So, I got a couple things here, and I'll start off with some of my more recent ones. Like, here's a simple one. This is a pet toy, but I just had to own it. Because it's Wicket, and he's cute. Look at that. Nub nub. No, 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 no. Now this one I bought at Disney. The same trip that I told you about that I got Donald at. So this was back in 2009. And I picked him up at the, well, even before they had the Star Wars docking bay there or whatever. He was sold near the Star Tours area in a little shop. Very cute. Now, funny story about him. The trip, when I went with a bunch of dudes down there, I took the cot. You know, I'm groovy enough to be like, nah, you guys take the beds. I'll take the rickety old cot here. And had the cot. Had him just sitting on my bags after buying them. We went out the next morning, and if you know, the housekeeping at Disney World is top notch. So when we get back to the room later that day, here he is tucked into the cot. I would love to have seen the housekeeper's face when she did that for a man that was 34, 35 at the time, and not a child like she was probably thinking. So, I ain't too proud. Next is one that came out in the 90s. Let's see if it actually has the date here. 97, with the reintroduction of the Star Wars toys. And this one's pretty nice. I mean, I have a couple stuffed animals from this time period in the Star Wars line, but I like how the nose and mouth are molded to give him that awesome Ewok smile. He's got the typical stuffed animal eyes, which work really well with it. But always dug it. And he's in pretty good shape for being as old as he is. Beanbag toys like this, though, are notorious for getting a hole somewhere and losing all the beans. So luckily this Ewok, Wicket, has not lost his beans. Now, before we get to the biggin, one of the biggest loves of my life, I'll show you the other thing that came out around the same time. And that's a baby Ewok, which were made famous in Return of the Jedi as they poked up out of the basket as they're shivering from C-3PO's story and his awesome sound effects. Now, I got this dude at or girl, I've never checked. I respect its rights. But, picked this Ewok up at a thrift store. Just thrown into a normal box full of stuffed animals. Like they didn't know the treasure that they had. And luckily, at that day at that thrift store, it was fill up a bag for $1. A big old paper grocery bag that you hardly even see anymore. So, that's damn near free for this dude. But it made me so happy to score one, because I always wanted the babies as a kid, but never got them. Now, this has been one of the oldest friends of my life, even way before the fur skin. But Wicket, the original Kenner stuffed Wicket from, doesn't say, but I'm assuming 82, 83. Pretty good condition for as much as I did with him. I mean, when I was a kid, he rode in the car with me in the back seat, and I even buckled his seatbelt because he needed to be safe. He really was, as sad as it is, one of my best friends growing up. Slept with him every night. Funny story about him. Well, funny depending on who you are, I guess. But all the way even up to middle school. When I got to 6th grade, one of the big things for 6th graders is outdoor school. And you spend a week in the woods, in cabins, with your whole 6th grade class, all of them, good, bad, indifferent, all of them, in these cabins. And I didn't want to be away from home for a week, so I brought home with me. And at this time, I probably wasn't hanging with Wicked as much as I used to, but this was just still a security blanket for me. Stuck him in my suitcase, and that's where he was. I never took him out because that first day there, the bullies came into our cabin, and they picked on this one dude that, yeah, I think maybe nowadays he may have been more secure to let people in on what his thoughts were in here, but back then he wasn't. But you know how bullies can sniff that stuff out. He had a stuffed animal, so they tormented the crap out of him. They even took all of his underwear out of his suitcase and flushed it down the toilet. I don't think it flushed, but they got it all wet, and the dude was miserable that week. So Wicket stayed in the suitcase the whole time. And bullies bullied me, but I still was just like, that's cool, guys, and everyone kind of left me alone at the same time. So they never went through my suitcase, thank God, or I might not have him today. He might be flushed down the toilet, living with the crocodiles in the sewer. But I mean, this is still very special to me. like the fur skin, I don't think my kids even know he exists, and they won't because they'll try to steal him, and they won't treat him as nice as I did, that's for sure. But remember, I even wrote home to my grandparents and mentioned Wicket. So when I got home, they were like, "What's a Wicket? What the hell are you talking about?" And they even thought it was weird because how old? 11 years old, and I'm trucking with a stuffed animal. But hell, I'm 42 now and still trucking with them. But anyway, this has been another episode of It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, subscribe if you're a new viewer. If not, come back next week and we'll see what else is lurking down here in the depths of the laundry room. Anyway, thanks for watching. Keep being rad, stay dorky. Peace out. Thank you for watching this episode presented by My Side of the Laundry Room. Please check out some of these other recommended videos, and if you enjoyed what you've watched, please hit the subscribe button. You can also follow on Twitter, like on Facebook, and read up on My Side of the Laundry Room at our blog. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep being rad and stay dorky.